Has anybody seen the sports page?
I think it's over there on the chair.
May I be excused, please, Mom?
Yes, of course, dear. Oh, David, hey, wait a minute. Let me take a look at your sleeves there. Oh, Ozzie, look at this. I say, look at this hole in David's sleeve. We're going to have to do something to get rid of those darn moths.
I bet you tore it on a nail.
I did not.
No, there's a moth hole. I found another small one in your father's top coat. You better take that off, David, before it gets any bigger.
Has anybody seen the sports page?
I think it's over there in the chair.
How do you get rid of moths, Mom?
Well, that's a good question, dear. They have regular companies, I believe, that fumigate the closets for you. We never had any trouble before.
How do they eat through cloth?
Well, I think it's the eggs that cause all the trouble. Isn't that right, Ozzie?
No thanks. No more eggs. They were delicious.
The sports page is over there on the chair.
What's that got to do with it?
It was what?
With moths.
Can I be excused, please? I can't follow this conversation.
I don't blame you. Where are you going this morning?
Oh, no place. Just out with the fellas.
Well, don't you know where you're going?
We haven't decided yet, Mom.
Harriet, I wish you wouldn't pump the boy like that.
I'm not pumping him. I just want to know where he's going and who he's going with.
But don't worry about me, Mom. I'm very resourceful.
Well, I hope so.
Of course he is.
Thanks, Pop. Pop?
Yeah?
What does resourceful mean?
Why don't you look up in the dictionary if you don't know what it means?
That's okay. I think I know what it means anyway.
Wait a minute. Okay, what does it mean?
Come to think of it, I guess I don't know what it means.
Well, then, why don't you look it up?
I guess I'm just too lazy.
Well, that's a good answer.
I may not be resourceful, but I'm lazy and I'm honest. At least that's something.
Section of paper over there?
On the chair? Oh, I just gave you the sports section.
No, I'll give it back to you in just a minute. Woman's page is on the back of it.
I want to read about the fights last night.
Well, how about this in Abigail Cabot's column? She's found a sure way of getting rid of moths.
I'm just giving you a practical example of resourcefulness. Now, you want to read Abigail Cabot's column, and I want to read about last night's fight. So I'll merely tear old Abigail out. There you are. Right there. Read all about it.
Smart idea.
Harriet?
Yes, dear?
When you're through reading Abigail's column, would you turn it over and read me about the fights?
Where have you been?
Oh, hi. Outside, wasting my breath, trying to give Thorny a little advice.
What about?
Oh, he's worried about absolutely nothing. Seems Will is running around with some older boys that Thorny doesn't like. Thorny doesn't have enough confidence in his son to let him use his own judgment and select his friends.
Oh, sounds like you two had quite an argument.
No, there was no argument at all. I told Thorny what I thought he ought to do, so he's going to go right ahead and do what he wanted to do in the first place.
Well, at least you came out even.
After all, you got to have a little confidence in your children. Thorny doesn't seem to realize we have a couple of growing young men in our midst.
Were you looking for me, Pop?
The
mailman just put this for you, Pop.
Oh, that's a surprise.
It's postmarked New Jersey.
Maybe it's from Graham and Elton.
Let's see. Letter. How about this?
Well, come on. As long as you've made this a community project, what does it say?
It's from a guy I went to school with back home. You may be surprised to learn that I am in the business of manufacturing pipes. We have a special model called a varsity letter, and since I imagine your older boy David must be in college by now, I am sending one to him with the initial D on it. I hope he likes it.
Hey, how about that?
Careful, David.
Evidently thinks David's quite a bit older than he really is.
Well, yes, evidently.
Let me see it.
Boy, take your hands off it, will ya? I don't want to get any finger marks on it. I'm gonna see what it looks like in the mirror.
Want to see what it looks like in your mouth?
How about that, giving David a pipe?
Well, it was thoughtful of him.
Oh, sure. Like you say, he probably figures David's a lot older than he really is. See, that's not an uncommon thing for people to misjudge the age of other people's children. You think I ought to take the pipe away from David?
Well, he did give it to him.
Oh, yes, well, I don't mean permanently, but I mean, do you think maybe I ought to just keep the pipe until David is old enough to smoke? Come to think of it, David probably never will smoke. That is, he won't be much interested in it because kids usually follow after their parents and things like that, and I'm not much of a smoker. So, as I say, chances are David might not even smoke at all.
You are going to let him make his own decision, though, aren't you?
Oh, yes, certainly. After all, it's up to David to make his own decision about a thing like that. If he wants to smoke, he can just go ahead and smoke. When he reaches the proper age, of course.
How old is that?
Oh, say 29 or 30.
Hello, my boy.
What the heck are you doing?
What's it look like I'm doing? I'm smoking.
Smoking what, air?
Here, read some of your comic books.
Okay, I can wait until you finish.
I'm not interested in the comic books. Have you seen the morning paper?
Well, if you're looking for the funnies, they're downstairs.
Who cares about the funnies? I was interested in the financial page.
What the heck are you doing now?
Blowing smoke rings. What do you think?
Looks like you're blowing your top.
I'm just practicing, that's all. Later, when I graduated from college and I'm all through with athletics, I'm going to smoke a pipe.
You look pretty silly to me, boy.
Nobody asked your opinion.
Only a dope sits around smoking on an empty pipe.
Never mind half pint.
Pretty crazy, boy. They're puffing on an empty pipe. How about letting me have a puff?
Sorry, Shorty, you're too young.
I suppose you think you're a big man or something with that pipe.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're pretty envious, too.
I am not.
You are, too?
I am not.
Oh, you're not, huh?
No, I'm not. What does envious mean, anyway?
You're jealous of my pipe.
I am not.
You are, too?
I am not. Listen, I can get all the pipes I want to from Mickey McGoo.
What makes you think you can get any pipes from Miggy?
Because his father's a plumber. And I sure get off some good ones, boy.
Glad you think so. Hope you don't mind if I just ignore you.
Stop blowing smoke in my eyes, will you?
What are you hanging around here for, anyway?
I just want to see whether you're going to smoke that pipe or not.
I got a very good reason for not smoking it yet.
You've got two very good reasons, Mom and Pop.
For your information, you're not supposed to smoke a pipe until you've broken it in.
Why don't you give it to me? I'm pretty good at breaking things. You going to put some tobacco in it now?
Nope, just cleaning it.
If you aren't going to smoke it, what are you going to do with it?
That's my business.
I'll bet you never do anything with it.
Just stick around, sonny boy. You may be surprised.
Has David gotten back yet?
No, he's still running around the neighborhood showing off his new pipe.
What do you think we ought to do about it?
In what way?
Well, should we let him keep it?
Oh, sure, Harriet. After all, he can't hurt anything just walking around with a pipe in his mouth, as long as it's empty.
Then you don't think you'd be tempted to try smoking it?
No, of course not. That's all, you have to have a little confidence in your children. Besides, I can always phone the drugstore and tell them not to sell them any tobacco.
I'm sure they wouldn't anyway.
True. And I'm sure David wouldn't try to buy any either.
No, of course he wouldn't.
Of course not. No, we're both silly to be worrying about this. David's only having a little harmless fun showing off his pipe. By tomorrow, he'll have forgotten about it. You know how kids are.
Yes, you're probably right.
Oh, sure. I had a pipe when I was a boy, too. I was even younger than David. It was a big old corncob pipe. Couldn't find any tobacco, so I loaded it up with paper. It was fun for a while, but in a couple of months, I'd forgotten all about it.
A couple of months?
Well, it took about that long for my eyebrows to grow back in. What the heck are you trying to do, start a sandstorm? Yeah, I must admit you look very fetching in that outfit.
Well, thanks. Catherine had to go to a club meeting, and I was sort of drafted into cleaning the house.
Well, that seems only fair since you're the guy who messes it up most of the time.
Yeah, that's practically the same thing Catherine said.
Say, by the way, have you spoken to Will about this kid, you know, this older boy who's been running around with the boy you didn't like, Buzzy?
I certainly did, Oz. I talked cold turkey to him. Really laid it right on the line.
Oh, good for you.
I simply said to him, Will, I don't like this Buzzy Banks kid. I don't think he's the right type of boy for you to be friends with. I think he's a bad influence, and I don't want you to see him anymore. Now, is that perfectly clear?
I hope you told Will to get a haircut.
I know, Oz, you don't quite approve of my high-handed manner, and you think it's a little dictatorial, but it sure works.
Oh, no. I think you have a perfect right to discipline your boy any way you see fit.
Oz, a boy respects his father more if you get a little tough with him.
Yeah?
You gotta let the kid know who's the boss in the house.
Oh, sure.
And Will really knows who is now, believe me.
Oh, yeah. I wonder if you do.
Don't let my domestic outfit fool you. Behind this apron, there beats a heart of iron.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I wanted to ask you, what's David doing with a pipe? Or am I telling tales out of school?
Oh, no. We know all about that, Thorny. It was a gift from an old friend of the family's.
Yeah, fine friend.
Oh, no. This fellow's might say sort of a traveling man. He goes all over the country.
It's okay, Oz. My family knows a few unsavory characters, too.
There's nothing unsavory about this guy. Just happen to think that Dave is a little older than he really is. I think it's darn nice for the guy to send Dave a pipe.
Well, if I were you, I'd certainly take the pipe away from the boy.
Well, what for, Thorny? I have confidence in David. Look, you have your methods and I have mine. That's that old difference of opinion we've been talking about.
Well, I'll tell you this much. You'll never see my boy Will smoking a pipe.
David isn't smoking the pipe, Thorny. He's just showing it off to his friends in the neighborhood, that's all.
Okay, Oz, if you say so.
So harming a kid walking around with an empty pipe in his mouth?
Nothing. An empty pipe is perfectly harmless.
Well, I'll guarantee you David will never put tobacco in it.
Well, I'm certainly glad you told me that. Frankly, I was a little worried.
Worried about what?
Well, when I was down at the drugstore buying some furniture polish, David came in and bought a can of Old Castaway.
Old Castaway? What's that?
It's a very cheap pipe tobacco. I understand they make the stuff out of lint from the pockets of old Confederate uniforms.
It couldn't possibly have been David.
Oh, look, Oz, it was David, all right. If the boy's going to smoke, why don't you give him a decent allowance so he can get some good tobacco?
I don't believe it, Thorny. In the first place, the druggist wouldn't sell tobacco to a minor.
Well, David had a good reason for buying it. I heard the excuse he gave the druggist.
You seem to know an awful lot about what David was doing.
Well, Oz, I was right there in the drugstore, and I couldn't help overhearing from where I was hiding behind the soda fountain.
In other words, you were spying on the boy.
No, I wasn't spying. I just thought you might want to know, that's all.
You say he had an excuse for buying the tobacco?
That's right. A very logical excuse. I heard him tell the druggist he wanted for his mother. Evidently, his family friends sent Harriet a pipe, too.
Very funny. I just can't believe David would do a thing like that.
Oz, I wouldn't worry about it. Kids are just naturally curious. Well, I bet you in a couple of days, David throws that pipe away. He'll throw it away a lot sooner than that if he tries a pipe full of Old Castaway.
Disillusion. It's bad enough that he bought the tobacco without making up a big phony story about it.
Gee whiz, Oz, I didn't think you'd take this so seriously. David's a fine boy. Doesn't mean to do any harm.
Oh, of course he's a fine boy, Thorny. It's not his fault, it's mine. It's always the parents' fault. I've missed out here somewhere. Guess I've just been too soft with the boy.
Harriet, I'm in here.
Harry, have you seen David?
He left the house a little while ago. Why, something wrong?
Yeah, I'm afraid so. I'm afraid this pipe business has gotten a little out of hand.
Oh, I don't think so, dear.
Oh, Now, wait a minute. I wish you were right, but unfortunately you're not. I know better. I want you just to sit here calmly and not get excited. Well, Thorny was down at the drugstore, and he saw David buy a can of pipe tobacco.
Oh?
Harriet, I said Thorny was down at the drugstore, and he saw David buy a can of pipe tobacco.
Yes, dear, I heard you.
Well, how can you just sit there so calmly?
Well, that's what you told me to do.
He not only saw David buy a can of pipe tobacco, old castaway pipe tobacco, but David told the druggist he was buying it for you.
That's right, he was.
Now, Harriet, if you're just trying to say this to protect the boy...
Oh, no, really, dear. I asked David to go down and buy me a can of very cheap tobacco.
You really did?
Yes. I got the ideas in Abigail Cabot's column. Look, you see these little white bags?
Well, what about them?
Well, you fill them with tobacco, and you hang them in the clothes closet, and they keep the moths away.
How about that? And I was really worried there for a minute.
You mean you really thought David had taken up smoking a pipe?
No, I was afraid you had.
Well, you don't have to worry about either one of us. David got rid of his pipe.
Oh, wow. When did this happen?
I don't know. Told me he gave it away a little while ago.
Oh, well, I knew something like this had happened. Didn't I tell you it would?
Yes, you did, dear.
Sure. Who'd he give it to?
I didn't ask him. I was just happy to get it out of the house.
Yeah, I guess you're right at that.
I'm all right, Pop. How are you?
Ricky, where'd you get that pipe?
Well, David gave it to me. Neat, huh?
Oh, fine.
Want to see me smoke it?
Well, you mean to say you've been smoking that pipe?
That's what a pipe's for. Ricky, now, what's the offering?
Oh, hi, Dave. I was afraid you might be asleep. Ricky, I was just going to turn off the light in a couple minutes. I just want you to know your mother and I are very proud of you, son.
Oh, gee, how come, Pa?
Well, you justified our faith in you today. After all, your mother knew you had that pipe, and yet she sent you down to the store to buy a can of tobacco.
Gee, I don't mind running an errand for Mom.
I know you don't, David, but a lot of boys, just out of idle curiosity, might have been tempted to try some of the tobacco. You weren't, though.
Oh, I was tempted, Pop.
Well, perhaps you were. However, the important thing is that you didn't yield to the temptation.
Oh, I know. I thought about it. Then something very powerful and strong held me back.
I know, son. That was your conscience.
No, I think it was my nose when I got a whiff of that old castaway.
Hi, Hans.
Oh, hi, Thorny. No, please, don't do that.
Well, why are you doing it?
Well, this happens to be my house.
You sure you don't need any help?
No, thank you. I can handle it all by myself.
Thinking of painting your house, Hans?
Well, I didn't say that.
I know you did. That's why I asked. Sure needs it.
I asked you not to do that, Thorny.
Would you want to paste it back on?
Be ridiculous.
You want to come over and peel some off the side of my house?
Your house need painting?
I didn't say that.
No, but you had your house painted at the same time I had mine painted. So it seems only logical that if this house needs painting, so does yours.
Then you are going to paint it.
No, I didn't say that. You going to paint yours?
If you paint yours.
Oh, no, you don't.
Hans, is there any law to prevent me from painting my house when you paint your house?
No, there isn't.
I use the same quality of paint, don't I?
Indeed, you do.
I've even used the same painter.
And paid him less money than I paid him.
Struck a nerve, huh?
Seems to me you ought to be an expert on nerve. You've sure got enough of it.
Oh, now, wait a minute. How selfish can you get? Or to put it another way, how cheap can you get?
It isn't a question of being cheap. I just resent your tactics. I go all over town getting estimates, select just the right paint, make a deal with the painter. He gets halfway through painting my house, and you come over and dicker with him to paint yours for less money. And furthermore, you did the dickering on my time.
I happened to be watching him while he was working, and it occurred to me that he'd have a lot of paint left over. And since he just had to move his equipment across the driveway to my house, he ought to give me a break on the price. When are you planning on having your house painted, Oz?
Oh, no, you don't. This time you can have your house painted first, and I'll get the break in the price.
Gonna have it done next week?
I'm not saying.
Oz, what kind of a neighbor are you, resenting the fact that I saved myself a little money? Didn't cost you any more, did it?
No?
Well, when are you gonna have it painted?
I'm not going to tell you. Look, why don't you have your house painted first, and then I can save a little money.
You think I'm crazy? Why should I let him do my house first? Let him practice on yours. Besides, it's cheaper that way.
Look, Thorny, besides the fact that I resent your chiseling in on my paint job, I don't like the idea of your house being painted the same color as mine.
Oz, you've done some low things to me, but this one is the lowest.
I'm just protecting my individuality.
Cheapness, selfishness, thoughtlessness. Yes, I guess you could call that your individuality, but if you want my opinion, you're just a carbon copy of me.
Hi.
Hi. Well, what was your decision? Did you decide to have the house painted?
Eventually.
Well, when is that?
When Mr. Thorny goes out of town for a visit.
Well, what's that got to do with it?
If you'd have been sitting over by the window, you would have heard the whole thing. Mr. Thorny wants to hitchhike a ride on our paint job.
You mean like he did the last time we had the house painted?
Yeah, can you imagine the nerve of that guy?
Well, I think it's a pretty smart idea. Why didn't you think of it first, dear?
Look, Harriet, if I'm going to save money, I'm going to save it legitimately.
Do what legitimately, Pop?
Save money.
Should have thought of that before you had Ricky.
Since when is David permitted to discuss such things in my presence?
Well, the point is, I just don't like the idea of Mr. Thornberry having his house painted the same color as ours.
Well, that makes sense.
Oh, I think you're right, Pop. His ought to be different.
Of course it should.
Why?
Well, don't you believe in people expressing their individuality?
Sure, but I never get a chance to express mine.
Well, now, what do you mean by that?
Well, take our bedroom upstairs, for instance. The one you laughingly refer to as the boys' room. David's side is over here, and my side is over here. Now, David and I are friends and neighbors, even though we are brothers. Yet his side of the room is exactly like my side of the room. Now, how can I have any individuality?
Well, it's one room and it expresses both your individuality.
It expresses David's individuality. He was there first.
If you don't like it, move out.
Why should I move out? You move out. It would be easier. You got less stuff to move than I have.
Nobody's moving out.
How about my individuality?
Now, that reminds me. I think it's about time you got a haircut, and I mean a real one.
I have to keep it this way, Ma. Otherwise, people will think I was David.
Let's not be insulting.
It's true. I have to wear his old clothes, walk around in his old shoes, sleep in his old bedroom. Who am I?
Well, just what did you have in mind, son?
Why can't I fix up my half of the room the way I want it? Like you and Mr. Thornberry, Pa.
Well, you know, that makes pretty good sense at that, Harriet. I don't see any reason why you shouldn't.
Well, it's all right with me if it's all right with David.
It's okay with me if it'll make him happy. Fix up his half of the room any way he likes.
Well, son, looks like you've got the green light.
Green. Yeah, that's a nice bright color.
Hello, Mrs. Nelson.
Well, hello, Mr. Baxter. Come on in.
Thank you.
I haven't seen you since you painted our house.
I guess it's about time again. My wife said Mr. Nelson called and wanted me to come over and give him an estimate.
Oh? Well, he has been talking about having the house painted.
Oh, Mr. Baxter?
Oh, no, Mr. Nelson. I'm sorry I couldn't get here earlier, but I just got your message.
Oh, my message?
Yeah, my wife said you called and wanted an estimate.
Oh, this is quite a coincidence, but I didn't call.
You didn't?
No.
Well, she said it was Mr. Nelson.
Oh, I wonder who it could have been.
Hi, Mr. Baxter.
Oh, hello, Ricky.
The room's right this way, sir.
Oh, yes, son. You mean to say you phoned Mr. Baxter?
Well, yes, sir. Didn't your wife give you the message, Mr. Baxter?
Yes, she did. I just assumed it was your dad.
Oh, my voice is getting pretty deep lately. I was wondering if you could give me an estimate on how much it would cost to paint half a room. It wouldn't cost as much as the whole room, would it?
I guess not.
Ricky, we're not going to paint one half of the room one color and the other half another.
Why not, Mom? You told me to express my individuality.
Now, look, son, we don't mind your fixing up your half of the room, but no paint, and do it yourself.
Oh. I guess I better call the Emporium and tell him not to send over the interior decorator.
I better make sure he does it.
Sorry, Mr. Baxter.
That's okay, son.
Look, I was just going to phone you myself anyway, Mr. Baxter. I wanted you to give us an estimate on painting the outside of the house. I did want to wait until my neighbor got out of town, though.
Oh, Mr. Thornberry.
Yeah.
He's a pretty sharp fella. Say, maybe if I paint your house, I could get his job, too.
No, that is, I don't mind you getting the extra work, but this time I'd like to have my house painted a different color.
Oh, well, then I couldn't give him as good a price.
Well, believe me, that doesn't worry me. I'm just interested in your painting our house.
Okay, I'll look at it.
Oh, this sounds like a rather unusual question, but what size coat do you wear?
About your size, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Would you mind trying this coat on, please? Mr. Baxter, but you understand I don't want my neighbor to recognize you.
Oh, that's okay, Mr. Nelson. I'm kind of peculiar in some ways myself.
Now, I think the house is substantially the same as it was the last time you painted it. Oh, we've added this little porch on here, but I don't think that should take much paint.
Hi, Oz.
Oh, hi, Thorny. How are you? Now, as I was saying, I think maybe if we spade it up over there, Mr. Gardner, and put some roses perhaps over there, and maybe some, Thorny, I'm just talking some business with this gentleman, and then perhaps some ivy might be nice, Mr. Gardner. Thorny, I'll see you later. We're talking some business here.
So long. So long, Mr. Baxter, and when you finish painting Mr. Nelson's house, come over and we'll talk some business.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Can I give somebody a hand here?
Well, Dave's got all the packages.
Where's Rick?
I don't know.
Well, didn't he get downtown with you?
No, I haven't seen him all day.
Oh, well, he hasn't been around here. Unless maybe he's up in his room.
Hey, Mom, Pop, come over here quick, will ya? What's the matter? I want you to see something. Now, take a big, deep breath, and if you feel real brave, take a look at our room.
How do you like it, folks? Just expressing my individuality.
Oh, thank you, dear. Wow.
Wallpaper sure does brighten up a room, doesn't it, Mom?
Oh, that's putting it mildly.
Rick, who gave you permission to do all this?
You did, Pa.
Well, no, I didn't, son. I said you could redecorate your half of the room, but I didn't say anything about wallpaper.
You said not to use paint, so what else is there? I could have put pin-up pictures on the wall, but I'm getting kind of old for that sort of stuff. Boy, what a ham.
Well, what are we going to do about this?
Well, there isn't much we can do about this.
I guess not.
Especially with the paste I use. Quick dry super stick airplane cement.
Look, Rick, we appreciate what you're trying to do, son.
But
Yes, but why didn't you discuss this with your mother and me before you went ahead with the whole project?
it's really all right, Pa. It's lively, it's interesting, it's colorful. Can't you see, Dad? It's me.
Oh, hi, Dave. Your mother and I were just wondering what to do about the situation.
Well, it's pretty rough, Pop. I've been sitting up there trying to read, and I can't even keep my eyes on the page. Those wallpapers keep pulling my eyeballs right out of my head. I'm getting eye strain from trying to follow the design.
Where did Rick get that collection anyway?
Well, you know Lassiter's paint store?
Yeah.
Well, he got them out of the trash can in the alley.
I can believe it.
Yeah.
It's getting so I can't even invite my friends up to my room.
Oh, come on now, Dave. It isn't that bad.
Well, it's pretty rough, Mom. You should try staying up there for a while.
Well, yeah. I cleaned up there today. If you find any dust in the room, it's because I did it with my eyes closed.
How about this? Found it in a junkyard.
Oh, you didn't have to tell us.
Pretty individual, huh?
Holy smokes, what a horrible monster.
I bet you I'm the only guy in the neighborhood with one of these.
Pop!
Now, Dave, keep your temper. Remember what Rudyard Kipling says. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs.
He's already got that upstairs on the wall in a bamboo frame.
Like a snitcher, but have you seen what David's done?
Well, he told me he was going to redecorate his room, but I haven't seen it yet.
He's painting his side of the room, and it looks ridiculous. Come on, if we hurry, we can stop before it's too late.
No, now, wait a minute, Ricky. Let's be fair about this. This is David's side of the room, and he's just as entitled to express his individuality as you are.
Yeah, but it looks ridiculous. I think he's gone off his rocker.
Well, nevertheless, this is between you and David. You fellows share the same room, and I think you should work the situation out between yourselves.
Okay. If you're going downtown, you better bring him back a straitjacket. David, cut that out.
Get out of here, will you? I'm busy.
Well, it's not fair to do that.
What do you mean? This is my half of the room. I'm just expressing my individuality.
But it clashes with mine.
Yeah, that's the story of our lives. The story of everybody's life. In fact, you've given me an idea for a composition. It's called Individuality. Here, let me read it to you. The right to express his individuality is a precious heritage of every free man. However, it is also his obligation to exercise this privilege in such a way that he does not infringe upon the rights of his fellow man. Man has his rights as an individual, but he also has his obligations as a member of society.
Stop changing the subject. You're ruining the whole effect of my side of the room.
I'm just giving you a graphic example of the point I've been trying to prove.
Well, cut it out before I do something desperate.
You can have my reservation at the YMCA.
I'm warning you, David.
Go on, get out of here. Hey, come back here with that paint.
Hey, who did that?
Oh, gee, I'm sorry, Mr. Thornberry. I'll be right. My father will be right down.
That looks a lot better, doesn't it?
No, it doesn't.
Thorny, this whole thing was sort of an accident. Ricky just lost his temper.
Mm-hmm. I understand.
No, you don't. I can tell by your whole attitude that you don't understand.
Yes, I do. It doesn't surprise me one bit. How can a kid learn self-control when he's got a father who's always going around blowing his stack?
Wait a minute. I never blow my stack, as you so crudely put it.
Never?
No, never.
What color are you going to paint your house, Oz?
That's none of your business.
Okay, what color are you going to paint my house?
Your house?
Yeah, this one here. This black one with the white trim all around it.
You really think I'm going to paint your house?
Well, not personally. I'd recommend Mr. Baxter. I've used him before, and he's very reasonable.
Just a second, Thorny. Just because Ricky happened to splatter a little paint on your house doesn't entitle you to a complete paint job.
Well, have it your own way, Oz. Of course, it'd be a dirty shame to waste this lovely weather in a musty old courtroom. I think my old friend Judge Hopkins is on the bench. The man you beat in the playoffs at the Rotary Club golf tournament. You know, the one you accused of kicking his ball out of the rough. Good old sorehead Hopkins.
Well, I'll think it over tonight.
Okay, Oz. Sleep tight.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. It was a pleasure doing business with you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Baxter. You did a fine job in my house.
Did a fine job on my house, too, Mr. Baxter.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
You know, he did. He did a swell job on both houses. Look wonderful. Fresh, clean.
Identical. You know, I'm a little disappointed in you, Oz. You're always a guy who stands up for his principles. I know this sounds foolish, but I didn't really think you let money influence you. But when I got down to hard cash, you gave up your individuality.
Come on in the house and have a couple of cookies with me.
Thanks, Oz.
Now, let me get this straight. You say Thorny gave you that jacket?
That's right, and the shirt and tie, too. You know, he's really a good guy, Harriet. I think he felt a little guilty because he got the same deal with Mr. Baxter that he did last time.
Well, I must say the outfit certainly is a bold stroke for originality. I don't think you see many more people dressed just like it.
I think it's kind of youthful looking. He got it at Brown's department store. Oh, that must be Thorny. He wants to drive downtown with me. Hello? Oh, hiya, Thorny. Yeah, I'm wearing it right now. Gee, thanks again. It certainly was a nice thing to do. It fits me fine, too.
Ozzie?
Yeah, I'm talking to Thorny. Well, I don't know, but it must have set you back plenty.
Ozzie?
Pardon me, Thorny. Yeah.
Did you say Thorny got that jacket at Brown's?
Yeah, that's right, Brown. That was Harriet. She thinks the coat's terrific. She wanted to know where you got it. Yeah. Well, gee, thanks again, Thorny. It's real great of you.
Swell, Oz. Glad you liked it.